Happy Tuesday evening, folks. Cheers. Well, I think it's safe to say that Saturday's game has become a pretty massive one, I think. More for this season, I think, than the future. Let me be clear on something. No matter what happens Saturday, like I said last week, and like I said 2 weeks ago, I have the utmost faith in Mario Cristobal and the staff and Dan Radakovich and Alonzo Highsmith, all the guys in charge to eventually turn this thing around. Now, that being said, it's probably not going to happen this year. I'm going to be honest with you. This year is going to be a rough one. I'm going to quote something that my boy AO said Monday night on their show, AO and Lex on the Average Canes Fan Show. Go check it out. They had a great episode this week. And the part of it that I caught, I happened to catch a very good quote from AO. And they were talking about the FIU loss and how many players from that team are still on this team. It may feel like a million years ago, but folks, that FIU game was only 3 years ago, not even 3 years ago. And what makes it more embarrassing is FIU, I think, has only won like 2 or 3 games since then. Pretty bad. But anyway, that game, there were, the players, let's say you had a true freshman in that game, they're in their 4th year now. So if you factor in, the extra COVID season, extra years of eligibility, red shirts, and also taking out transfers and things like that, there's still a good little chunk of that team still on this team, still on this roster, I should say. So remember, part of people talk about roster turnover, right? Now more than ever with the transfer portal because you can do it much quicker. At the end of the day, it still takes time. All right. It still takes time. And let me share with you something that I saw online. I'm sure a lot of you guys saw it floating around Twitter, but here it is. And I thought this was great. This was Alex Anstead, CFB on Twitter. I'm not sure what he does. I guess he's a journalist of some kind, but this is what he tweeted. It took Dabo 4 years to win 10 games. It took Mike Gundy 6 years to win 10 games. It took Harbaugh 7 years to win the Big Ten. It took Kirby 6 years to win the national title. Trust the process. Dude, I could not agree with that more. Could not agree with that more. And with that, let me ask you guys this, and you guys can feel free, answer in the chat. Let me know what you think. If it takes Mario 6 years, 7 years to finally break through, and I mean really break through, like make a playoff, like dominate your conference and just win, like run away with the conference championship like Clemson does every year pretty much. Doesn't mean we're going to suck along the way, going to have some 8-9 win seasons, maybe a couple 10 win seasons, but it takes that much longer to build a sustainable winner. If it takes 5, 6, 7 years even, would you guys be okay with that? I'll let you answer. You be honest with me. You're like, no, John, I've waited 20 years. This is long enough. I want to see us win now. I want to see us win now too, in the worst way. But this staff has to turn the roster over. There are still a lot of guys that are probably not fully bought in, that are from the last regime, and it happens. You're inheriting a team of 80-plus scholarship players. You can't expect everyone to be fully 100% in. That's why what I just read off applies, because you need time. You need time to turn that roster over. You need time to develop the young guys you're bringing in. You need time to develop relationships with future recruits. Make no mistake, Mario and this staff they are developing relationships with recruiting classes 3-4 years away. So in 2024, 2025, when a 5-star puts that Miami hat on, it's because he's building that relationship now. So Michael says, nope, only if we win the game, championship game, 3 years tops. I don't think 3 years is realistic, man. I honestly don't. They didn't have the portal years, not like it is now anyways. That's true, 863. That's a fair point. But even then, you got to trust the process. If we're winning the Coastal every year and playing for the ACC, yeah, I'm cool. It's just going to take a while to get over that hump. That hump, in other words, Clemson, just like Georgia did. Yeah. Like I said, along the way, it's not like we're going to suck. I think we're hitting a rough patch now, year one, which, honestly, we should have expected. MTSU game aside, that was embarrassing either way. But hey, it's in the past. Nothing we can do about it now except learn from it. But, say we're, averaging like 9 wins, 8, 9 wins every year, winning the Coastal most years for the next 5, 6, 7 years. And then finally we get over that hump and break through, and then we're a national contender. I'd be okay with that. I'd be more than okay with that. I've waited 20 years. I can wait a few more. It's fine. Remember, Mario rebuilded a 4-8 Oregon team when he took over. Absolutely. A lot of flaws on that team. What's up, John Go Canes? I want to see us win now, but it takes time to build a roster. I totally agree. We are rebuilding. 100%. Patience. Now, that being said, and we're going to talk about it tonight, this UNC game's big. For the short term, it's big. Because I don't know about you, but the fact that we're 0-0 going into ACC play, that really, that gets me excited again. The emotions from the last loss have died down now. I think they have with most of the fan base. And I think we're looking at that game as more of an aberration than an actual indication of how good this team is. Because let's be honest, 4 touchdown favorites, you play that game 10 times, we win 8 or 9. And I say 8 or 9 instead of 9 because this is not a perfect roster. And you know what? They came with a good game plan against us, and we got beat. Fine. On most days, we beat that team, and they took it to us. Congrats to them. Their coach talked a lot of smack. Hey, he earned it. Deserved it. They lost their next game. Probably took their eye off the ball, but still, they beat us. I really believe that was an aberration more than anything. Are we a good team now? No. But at least a team that should be able to compete in the Coastal Division, in my opinion. I think 2025, we should be a 10-win team knocking on the door of the playoff. I think that's a realistic assessment. Some people have us there now going into the season, and I kind of started to drink the Kool-Aid a little bit. Just a little bit. It started to take, little sips of the Kool-Aid. Like, maybe this is a 10-win team right now. Obviously, with a Heisman candidate at quarterback, how can we miss? He hasn't played that way so far. But, Michael, I'm 63. Don't know if I can wait that long. Okay, I understand. Hey, it's a few years. For you, Michael, I think they'll do it. Brian, what's going on, sir? This game will tell us a lot about our players in the future. I don't know how much it's going to tell us about the future, to be honest, Mitch. But a lot about our current players, yes. It'll show me how they can bounce back. Because they showed up and played very hard against we'll call them a solid Texas A&M, a solid and talented Texas A&M team that's very well coached. Showed up and played very hard, made some mistakes, should have won the game, but they didn't. That tells me that they can, this coaching staff, this team can show up for a big game. Sometimes it's harder to show up for the Middle Tennessee game right after that. Sometimes that's harder. That shows, to me, still a lack of maturity in this team. But let's see. Let's see if this game matured them a little bit. Michael, depends on recruiting. Yep. Oh, of course. That's the backbone of everything. Yo, have you heard the news on Arroyo? Possible news. Mitch, all I know about Arroyo is that he's banged up, according to Coach Cristobal, and, his availability this Saturday is in question, along with our running backs. Right now, Henry Parrish and Jalen Knighton, I know they exited the last game with injuries. I don't know how serious those injuries are. I really, really, really hope that they can play, at least one of them. If one of them can play, our running game could be all right. Because if there's one way we're going to win this game, it's going to be in the, with the physical component. If UNC turns us into a track meet, we will lose. I promise you. We're not going to win a track meet against them, but we will win a knockdown, drag out, physical fist fight type of game against them. That we can win. Because what they showed me at College Station against a pretty solid decent SEC team, you apply that to any Coastal Division team right now, because the Coastal Division is not super strong. Right now, UNC might be the strongest team in the Coastal, and their wins have not been impressive aside from their last one. You can apply that to our Coastal opponents. We should be okay. It'll slow the game down. If we can run the ball, move the chains, slow the game down, keep Drake Maye off the field. If you have a 5-minute scoring drive, awesome. You got 7 points, and that's 5 minutes that Drake Maye was not on the field. That's another way of playing defense against a quarterback like that. Jimmy Jam, if we finish strong in recruiting this year, the glass is half full, the future is bright. And I think we will. I'm pretty confident of that. Aside from this season just completely unraveling, and when I say completely unraveling, I mean we just, we have like a season that Florida had a couple times in recent years, like 4-8, something like that. I don't think that's going to happen. But look, even then they bounce back in recruiting. You see, there's nothing is like the end of the world. Everything's bounce backable, I guess. Coach Steele broke down the 4 big plays so easily and took blame. It was nice hearing legit problems and fundamentals that went wrong. Yeah, it's nice hearing accountability for once, because I feel like our coaching staffs, outside of maybe Coach Richt, our coaching staffs the last 15 some odd years have not, they haven't taken accountability over bad losses. I won't name specific coaches, but you go back over the last 5 head coaches, you know who I'm talking about. There's some that just, I don't think took full accountability. Mario stood up and was like, listen, this one's on me. Got to look in the mirror as a man and, just see and, challenge myself and see what went wrong. And, I'm the man in charge, so I take the blame. You can't not respect that. Some of us might not be alive. I'm 50. Man, you'll be alive. Come on. Let's see. Jimmy Jam, mathematically, this still might be a 10-win team. Mathematically, I don't know if I see that happening. You're still young. Yeah, Rob, you're still young, man. Listen, I'm 35. Unfortunately, I was very, very small when the Canes won 87, 89, and 91. I vaguely remember 91. I remember my dad and my brother in the living room on New Year's Day. It was probably the Orange Bowl game against Nebraska that I think we beat them 23-0, 22-0, something like that. That ended up being for the championship. And that was back, kids, during the days where there was no championship game. You played your bowl games, and the number 1 team was voted on at the end of everything. I vaguely remember that 91, watching them watch a couple of big games. I remember them in the living room watching on New Year's Day. It must have been because it was around Christmas time, and they were definitely watching a UM game. And then in 92, this one I remembered vividly because I was in kindergarten. 92, they went to wide right 2 in the Orange Bowl. I remember they came back all sunburned and I was like, man, I wish I could have gone. But my first game was wide right 3. So my point is, yeah, I'm young enough to not really remember the first 4 championships. I got the 5th one. I got to remember that very vividly. I remember the rebuild right before that. So I would love to see at least one more time in my lifetime a rebuild to a nationally prominent team again and sustain it for a while. Don't just be great for a few years and drop off. The Saturday game is our season. John, we're in ACC play now. Let's see how the kids and coaching staff respond with the negativity we had in the game lost to Mississippi State. Let's beat UNC. Let's go. I'm with you, man. I'm all for positivity. Now, speaking of which, TVD all but named the starter for Saturday's game. I know he hasn't, I don't think it's officially been don't think he's officially been named the starter, but basically Coach Cristobal came out and said, you don't, not in so many words, is like, you don't lose faith in your QB after one bad game. I mean, that pretty much ends it all. You know what? Whether you agree with the pick or not, I love the decisiveness. I love that he didn't dance around the question. I love that, it wasn't like a politically correct answer. He came out and said, listen, TVD's my dude. That's who I'm going with. Not in those exact words, but basically, if you have half a brain, that's basically what he said. So how do you guys feel about TVD starting the game Saturday? Honestly, something about Coach Mario's confidence when he said that, I was like, you know what? All right, let's go. I feel all right. I have faith. They're going to do something to turn it around. And if not, then, we'll see more freshmen. If we don't win this game Saturday, okay, we'll see more young guys the rest of the season, and then maybe we see more Jake Garcia. Who knows? Either way, I'm not expecting anything out of year one. I was early on. I was like, man, this team's ACC title contender. I'm expecting a Coastal championship this year. But you know what? It's going to be very rocky. It could be very streaky. 2016, first year with Mark Richt. We win 4, then we lose 4. 2 of them games we had no business losing, and then one of them was the heartbreaker against FSU, the blocked extra point. So you win 4, then you lose 4, and then you win 5. Couple of those games we were underdogs in. Went on the road to beat NC State, a good NC State team at the time, really good defense. And then we win that bowl game against West Virginia that we were underdogs in as well. They were number 16. I think we were unranked. My point is, this season can go like this, up and down and up and down. No way to tell. Point is, I'm not expecting anything. But man, if we can pull this one off, Miami can go on one of those positive runs that I just mentioned. But all I want to see, honestly, I want to see us bounce back. I don't want to see a team that's mentally defeated if we fall behind 10-0 like we did last Saturday or the Saturday before. I don't want to see, TVD make a bad throw and get down on himself, because you saw his face. Like after that, he was visibly frustrated. It was just coming off of him. I need to see a Tyler Van Dyke that's going to be calm and is going to make, is going to look like 2021 Tyler Van Dyke and make some accurate throws and be poised and be confident. What I would love to see is maybe Tyler run a little bit. Bosworth, what's up, man? I would love to see some read options where he pulls it and runs himself. Dude's 6'4", 220 some odd pounds. He's tough to bring down. And you know what? For a big dude, he can move. Tyler can run. I want to see that. I'm 46. I remember 86, unfortunately. Oh, you remember the Fiesta Bowl against Penn State. I wasn't alive then, but I know we had like 3 times as many yards as Penn State. That game kind of went like the A&M game. That we had like 3 times as many yards. We had a bunch of sacks. Our defense was dominating. Testaverde threw 5 interceptions. That was the difference in the game. Yeah, I've seen the full replay of that game, I guess, because I'm a masochist. I don't know. But that was one of the most talented teams in college football history to never win a championship. 8-9 wins are never going to work. Louise, let me tell you something. 8-9 wins, we haven't averaged in a very long time. Right now, I'll take 8-9 wins. We've been averaging like 7 every year. 8-9 wins usually wins you the Coastal or puts you in the discussion for the ACC championship. So yeah, 8-9 wins will work for now, but that's how you build. That's the next step. You don't go from 7-6 to 12-0. It just doesn't happen unless you have a situation like 10 years ago, 9 years ago, where Urban Meyer took over Ohio State, but he took over a talented roster. Also, Urban Meyer is one of the greatest coaches of all time. I think he should start. Okay. Keep hearing Arroyo's out for the year. Okay. I have to look into that. Have not heard that yet. I think Cristobal has to turn the roster over. He needs to bring in hungry guys from out of state. 35 guys from South Florida is too many. Has to build from outside in like Bama. Well, Bama builds from outside in because Alabama's not a talent hotbed. They live right next door to a talent hotbed in Georgia, and right underneath them, Northern Florida, there's a talent hotbed. And right to the other side of them, Louisiana, right? If I have my geography right, yeah, I think Louisiana's on the other side of them. There's another talent hotbed. Alabama, no, but they happen to be the South, those three piping hot states with talent. They're right around them. We're in one of the same. We're in the main one, really, especially for skill position guys. But I am all for building nationally. It's not, the recruiting game's not what it was 25 years ago, where all the speed and all the talent's down here. No, you find it in Washington State. You find it in California, Texas. You name it. You find it anywhere. But I don't think 35 guys from South Florida is too many. I don't think that's the problem. I honestly don't. Our main problem over the years has been player development. Guys come in, they flash as freshmen. Tell me if you've seen this story with the Canes since like 2004, 2005. They come in as talented freshmen, talented 4-star guys, maybe an occasional 5-star. They come in, they flash as freshmen. They show, they have a good game here, good game there, make a great play, and then they just kind of stay like that. We've seen that more often than not. That's the majority of players that have come through here, unfortunately. And then they end up going undrafted or end up getting drafted in the 6th round if they're lucky. I need to see guys, aside from the occasional, like this guy's the exception, not the rule. A 3-star recruit like Denzel Perriman gets better and better and better every year because he puts in the work. Did coaching have something to do with that? Sure, maybe. That was during the Al Golden era, pretty much. That's when he was here. That dude was just different. He put in the work. You need more guys like that. That no matter how good the coaching is, they're going to put in the work and they're going to be great. You need a few of those guys. For the most part, you're going to develop the talent on your field, on your team. For the most part, you got to develop, the role players, and you got to teach guys to block and all that stuff. But the guys that are going to put the team on their back, the guys that are in that defensive huddle that are like a DJ Williams, throw some obvious ones out there, and Ed Reed, a Vilma, guys that are going to be in that huddle and be like, listen, follow me. I am not going to let us lose this game. I swear to you, I am not letting us lose. Those guys that will lead your team on the field that you don't have to coach much. We're missing those, in my opinion. As bad as TVD is playing, that is, you stick with him for at least this game to show confidence in him, and that can help. Absolutely. And look, I'm going to the game Saturday. I hope some of you guys are going. I'm sure some of you guys are going. Show support. Hell, shoot him a DM. Shoot him a comment on one of his tweets. Send him, all the positivity you can send him, the better. Show Tyler Van Dyke we're behind him. Okay, I think I already read that one. John, do you think Avante gets reps Saturday, and do you think there will be any new starters in this game? I'll see. I think maybe 2 new starters on defense, mainly in the secondary. Avante, yeah, I think he gets a little more burn Saturday. I want to see Frierson get more burn Saturday. I don't know what it is. I don't know how many snaps he got in the last game exactly. Maybe he was nicked up a bit, but Frierson is just one of those reliable guys. I don't know why. I feel like I haven't seen a lot of them on the field the last couple of weeks. Hey, last year we beat NC State and Pitt. I'm optimistic, you mean? Yeah, no. Those 2 games come to mind when I think of this game. Because I feel like we went into those games with nothing to lose. And TVD went in there with nothing to lose. And he's like, screw it, I'm airing it out on these dudes. NC State at the time had the best defense in the ACC, statistically. And he went out there and shredded them. He and Rambo. That's the thing. We had Rambo back then. And that was the game where he really blew up. But we beat NC State. And then the following week, we go on the road and we beat Pitt, who eventually wins the damn conference. So I know what this roster's capable of in certain weeks. I'm just not confident they're going to do it consistently, but let's see what happens Saturday. Maybe that game 2 weeks ago woke something up in them. I really hope it did. MTSU was faster than Miami. It was not close. I'm worried this might be a 3-9 or 8-4 team. I don't think they're that bad. No, I don't see, again, I don't see the season unraveling to that point. And really, they looked faster than us because we were late. There was a lot of miscommunication in the secondary, and we were just late on some coverages. Of course, when you're not standing where you're supposed to be, when you don't, when your eyes are not watching the right player and you're a step behind because of it, yeah, you're going to look slow when the camera finally turns to you. But they're all D1 athletes. Slow, everyone says, "Oh, we don't have the speed." No, the speed's there. We don't have, we don't have this. We don't have the guys that can just, read and react. You know what I'm saying? Or guys that can dissect the play before it starts. We looked very lost. We looked like we didn't know what was coming at us on defense. So of course, by default, you're on your heels. You're going to look slower because you're just kind of reacting to whatever they're doing. The pressure's on Gaddis. If he broke TV, he has to get him fixed. Just saying. No, there's a lot of pressure on Gaddis. And that's another dude that I support a ton. I'm rooting for him. I hope he shuts us all up. I hope Coach Gaddis draws up something and really, puts it on that UNC defense. I would love to see what the fan base says if that happens. I want to see someone just get in everyone's face this game and be a loud leader, kind of like Rambo did last year when somebody missed a block. He was pissed and then he became a leader. I remember that play. That was it Zion that missed the block or Navon Donaldson? I think it was Navon Donaldson. He was supposed to peel out and throw a block on like a bubble screen or something. And if he hit it, it would have been a big gain. And I remember a lot of the fans were criticizing Rambo. It was like, "Hey, you haven't done anything yet. Relax." Well, he kind of proved us wrong. He was the best receiver on the team by far. But yeah, I want to see a loud vocal leader on the field. Not picking fights with the other team, nothing like that. Not picking up dumb penalties. No. A guy that's rallying the troops. I haven't seen that in many years. John, how much do you want to see Jaleel Skinner out there? Badly. I want to see that dude out there. If you want a red zone threat that can get you touchdowns inside the 10, there's your dude. Line him up wide and throw it up for him. See what he can do. And I want to see more of that. I want to see us challenge the other team's corners. We haven't been playing. A&M's got a deep secondary, but aside from that, we haven't been challenging the other team's corners at all. I feel like at all. I want to see that. He will be on a very short leash if he struggles. Garcia era. Yeah, but you know what? I hope that doesn't happen. I'm really pulling for TVD to turn it around. Was at that FSU game still think Mark Walton got that TD? Oh, Rob, are you talking about the one 2016 that they called a holding call on us? He took one to the house and they called holding on us. I didn't agree with that call either. And Dalvin Cook scored later in that game, as he did many times against Miami, but there was an obvious hold in that play. Didn't call it. I remember. Al Golden is a linebacker coach in the NFL, so that helped. True, years later, though. That was years later. This is 2011 2011 to 2014 that Perriman was there. So yeah, maybe Golden had a knack for linebackers. He did really, Pinckney, Quarterman, and McLeod were on their way here when Golden was the coach. Really, he's the one who recruited them. Al Golden, yep, he is the Notre Dame defensive coordinator. Less. How much can they change the offense in 1 week? It's not so much changing the offense less. I want to see execution. I want to see the ball being caught. I want to see guys not missing blocks. I want to see the receivers running sharp, hard routes, not, lazy routes. I want to see nice, sharp routes. I want to see our O-line protect TVD, which for the most part they have. Give him time to throw and make some big plays. What is going on with Frank Latson? I noticed they made it a point to throw him the ball more in this game or in the last game. I noticed like on those quick slants, he got a few first downs. So Frank Latson did get a little bit more involved. I want to see more though. I want to see some shots to the end zone though. If we're inside like the 30 or the 40, take a shot to the end zone. We haven't really done well. We've taken some deep shots, but they were from farther back. I want to see, a little jump, little fade to the corner of the end zone, something like that. Let one of our athletes try to make a play over one of their athletes. That is where I think we can have an advantage. That and also running the ball down their throats. But you can't do that every play. I feel like we're going to see the real TVD this game. He told Gaddis what plays he feels comfortable doing. I think the bye week helped us figure things out. The bye week, I think, came at the perfect time. I'm sorry, but either TVD plays great this season going first round, or give it to Jake and really start this new crystal ball era. Give Jake QB, the QB Miami wants. He's a natural leader. He's definitely a natural leader. I think I will say this. Jake Garcia, I think, is a more charismatic vocal leader than Tyler Van Dyke is. I will say that for sure. Better quarterback? I don't know. You go from 7-6 to 9-3, then 10-2 in 2-year span. Not one game improvement. 8-4, 9-3 year for 4 or 5 years is not good enough. That's too many years of being average. I don't think that's average. I think that is above average, Luis. And thing is, everybody expects, get better by 1 or 2 games every year. It doesn't work that way. Like, it doesn't work. Like, it kind of goes like this, until one year you pop and get over that hump. That's why I'm saying you got to be patient. Going 9-3 doesn't mean automatically, next year's 10-2, next year's 11-1. Maybe you build off that last year, but it's hard to predict. I hope it goes that smoothly though. Because I remember Randy Shannon comes in 5-7, brings in all that freshman class from Northwestern. They go 7-6, very young team. Then they go 9-4. So it was looking that way, but then all those veterans come back from that 9-4 team. We go 7-6 again. And then he gets fired. So I don't know. It doesn't go smoothly like that always. That's not how it works. But I hope you're right. I hope it does go that way the next 3 years. Ohio Hurricane says, just curious, who's the fastest player on the team? I would say either Brashard Smith or Malik Curtis. So let's see. We covered TVD. We covered what AO said in the last show. And yeah, so on defense, let's switch gears to that. Obviously, the defense, to me, was the worst part of the last game. They got absolutely shredded through the air. And it was nothing fancy. It was nothing exotic. It was run as fast as you can in a straight line, and I'm going to throw the ball to you. And our corners just didn't know what to do. Very unlike them. I'm not saying we have amazing corners, but I mean, to just get beat over the top like that repeatedly, that is, I don't know. That was weird. That was weird to me. They just did not look. I don't know what they did during the week. They just did not show up. That being said, how do you guys feel about but it goes that way for Alabama, Georgia, Ohio. No. It took Kirby Smart 6 years to win the title. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's not 1 game increase every year. He inherited a stacked roster, was in championship, after a couple years was in championship contention, and it took him a few years to finally get over the hump. So, it's not perfect. Alabama, okay. Alabama did go that way, but you're talking about the greatest coach of all time in Nick Saban. Goes 7-5 year one, has a couple of horrible losses. One of them was to Louisiana Monroe at the end of the season. Then they win, I think, 10 games. They lose to Tim Tebow's Gator team in 08. Then they beat the Gators in 09, and it's been championships since then. Again, that could happen, but again, it's Nick Saban we're talking about. And then Ohio State, I mean, Ohio State for the last 20 years has been a title contender pretty much every year. They've had some down years occasionally, but then they hire a great coach and they're back. So, it depends. Les, thank you. I was going to bring this up. So let me ask you guys this. You tell me in the chat. How confident do you feel in Kevin Steele and this defensive coaching staff to put together a good game plan with the extra week we had off, to put together a good game plan to take on a quarterback who looks like he's going to be a top 5 pick in the draft next year? You guys tell me. What do you think? Do you have faith in Steele, giving him this extra week to prepare? You think he's going to have a little edge? You think he's got something up his sleeve? Because I do. Les says, how will our D stop Drake Maye from running out of the pocket? A spy? If you do, it better be somebody athletic that can keep up with him. Love Steele. I agree. Every coordinator's allowed, bad games. But again, it's kind of on the players to make the plays too. I love Kevin Steele. Dude has been around the game a long time, has coached many great defenses over the years. He knows what it looks like, and he knows he knows what a great offense looks like. There's nothing he has not seen in this game yet. He's been around too long. You give a guy like that a bye week. You give Mario Cristobal a bye week. Mario Cristobal, by the way, I believe was 6-0 coming off bye weeks back in Oregon. I think it gives us a massive edge. Coming off the bye, I think, is where this coaching staff has a chance to shine. Obviously, we have to execute the plays. That's what we've been missing. But I feel confident that he's going to come up with some game plan. We just got to make the tackles. And if we got Drake Maye lined up for a sack, you need to make that hit. You got to bring him down. It can't be, him making 2-3 guys miss and then he gets a first down. No. You got to get home and you got to bring him down. Get that crowd up and roaring. It's not going to be a sellout, but 40, 45,000, 50,000 people at the Rock, not out of the realm of possibility. I think fans know how big this game is. It's a 4:00 start, so it's not going to be as hot. If it was a noon kickoff, there would have been 17 people at the game. Oh, October in Miami, it might as well be July. It is hot as hell. But 4:00 start, ESPN coverage, big ACC opponent. Usually these big conference games, they draw a respectable crowd, especially if we're kind of still in the race. And if we can get, upwards of 50,000, 48 to 50,000 at the stadium, that's going to be a nice atmosphere. It's going to get loud. Lee, your opinion on O-line 70? My bad, you're talking defense now. No problem. Man, who's 70? Is it Olawashone? Yeah, help me out. Someone tell me who number 70 is. Let's see. I feel good. This is a veteran coaching championship staff: Kevin Steele, Charlie Strong, Jamila Dye. Yeah, look, you forget where those 3 guys have coached. They've been with the best of the best. Charlie Strong was the defensive coordinator of a phenomenal Florida Gator team in 2008. And a lot of I remember watching back then. Hated to say it, but I remember seeing Kevin Steele, that defense, when they had Brandon Spikes and Ahmad Black and Major Wright and all those guys, Joe Hayden. I remember seeing Charlie Strong and being like, man, that's a future head coach. That dude is a future head coach. I would love to see that guy coach the Canes one day. Sure enough, he's here. But man, that you look at that staff, I find it very hard to believe they're not going to at least have us prepared. So, in my opinion, you got to bring the pressure on Drake Maye. If you let Drake Maye sit in that pocket for more than 3 seconds, he is going to shred you. This is going to be a long afternoon. We have to get immediate pressure on Drake Maye early and often. Send blitzes, send exotic blitzes. Our front four has to do a good job the way they did in College Station, putting pressure on the quarterback. We put some good pressure on albeit a freshman, but a very talented 5-star freshman quarterback who I was afraid was going to pick us apart. He didn't. The reason why guys like DJ Ivey and you know, the rest of the secondary, Corey Flagg, they had a great game, partly due to the front four putting pressure on the QB. That helps a ton. Now, if you're letting the quarterback sit there 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5, I don't care how good your coverage is. Eventually, you're going to get tired of running around and someone's going to get open. So you got to put pressure on Drake Maye immediately. We have to rattle Maye. He's still a freshman. I don't think he's been put on his ass. Let's see if we can. You also can't, like Les's point, you cannot let him escape. John, who do you see Steele changing on D? I have a feeling we're going to see a little bit more Chase Smith at the linebacker position. And I have a feeling you're going to see a little bit more of Frierson at the star, just to have more athletic guys out there. Now, in the Southern Miss game, I noticed they moved James Williams closer to the box a few times. One time it worked. I think either he got an interception or almost got an interception, something like that. It's memory's hazy. But, dude, he played linebacker for one play and he made a play. I would love to see, I think, putting James Williams in that box for the majority of the game, putting pressure on Maye, you know, clogging up those passing lanes because he's 6'5", 6'6". I think putting James Williams there could be a bit of a game changer. I think that's kind of your X factor in this game defensively. If it were me making adjustments. John, NC game on a regional sports station. It's all about you. I think it's on ESPN. Well, I think it's probably regional coverage, but it's on ESPN too. Maye can run. Saw him up close earlier this year. No, he absolutely can run. I think he had like 90-something yards in the last game. John, I want to see Leonard Taylor come up after the QB. Leonard Taylor has played a lot better this year in the sense that he's been more consistent instead of just flashing once or twice in a game and that's it. He's played more consistent. If I can get a big game from him and a big game from Jafari Harvey, who's also played pretty solid this year, I see improvement with him. That this defense could have a good day if you get a good game from both those guys. Let's see. I saw something about Nigel Lee. Yep, there we go. They need to please give Nigel Lee Kelly more playing time. I think they're giving him the appropriate amount of playing time. The dude's still a pup. He's still 17 years old, or I think he might have just turned 18. Nigel Lee is very talented, and I think by next year that's a future All-American. But it's year one. And believe me, they're watching him every day in practice. So I think they're giving him the appropriate playing time. I really do. If he keeps making plays, he'll be in there more. He runs on the edge. Flag has to hit him. No, whoever's on him has to hit him early and often. We need more takeaways on defense. Yes. That's been almost non-existent this year. I want to see some takeaways aside from, let me see. What have we had so far this year? Gilbert Frierson with a pick six off a deflection. You had none in the A&M game. Southern Miss, you had Stevenson pick one off in the end zone. It's kind of a weird play. It was kind of thrown right at him. But anyway, he had a takeaway there. I think James Williams had an interception, I want to say, or actually, no, that might have been a Bethune game. And that's pretty much it. We haven't had a lot of takeaways. So we need to get at least one in this game. If we can get two, that's huge. In today's modern-day college football of high-scoring offenses, one of the ways you stop teams is get that takeaway. Takeaways are huge. We can get one in their territory, score a touchdown, boom. That could, you know, if we're down, that could flip the game around. We get anyone healthy that's been nicked up. We'll see. You know how Coach Cristobal is. He keeps that stuff really, really close to the vest. I just know our running backs are dinged up right now. And I'm hearing that Thad Franklin may need to start. And let's see. I'm trying to find Rob Dukes' comment. Is that the one you're talking about, Rob? Yeah, no, I agree. Where was I? Totally drawing a blank. Sorry. The health. Yeah, the running backs, they got nicked up in the last game. So if we can get one of those two guys back, either Knighton or Thad Franklin, Henry Parrish, get one of them back, and that'll be a huge help. If it's on Thad Franklin and Devin Perry, well, that's who we got. Thankfully, both guys are physical runners, and that's, I think, where we're going to have to win this game, is in the trenches. Make this game dirty, messy. Don't make it a nice, beautiful, pretty track meet, because they will beat us by 40. Make it a physical game. Drag them into deep waters. Make it so that, it's a 4 o'clock start, so it's not going to be as hot. Game will probably be ending when it's dark, but that first half is still going to be in that muggy humidity. I don't know how hot it's going to be, but it's usually pretty muggy. I don't think those Carolina boys are quite used to that. So drag them into deep waters. Hit them with those running plays, those body blows. It'll wear them down for later in the game. Let's see. John, do you think Caleb Johnson... How do you think Caleb Johnson doing? We mean much more of him. That I totally agree with. As many plays as Corey Flagg has made, because there's been times that Corey Flagg has looked very good this year. There's been times he's caught out of position. It's going to happen, but Corey Flagg has made some nice plays this year. You could tell the dude's put in the work. Very reliable tackler. But I would like to see more Caleb Johnson. You could tell that dude is just experience-wise, athletically, just on another level from a lot of the linebackers we have. Let's see. That is really a dog. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's end with this. Anthony Mendez asks, what's up with Don Chaney? Why haven't we heard much about him? Again, Mario does not disclose too much about injuries, but I know they're optimistic that Chaney could possibly play this year. That was the last thing I heard. I think that's the last thing we all heard. And we will see. Again, like I said early in the show, I'm being very patient with this program right now. I think the right pieces, Mario, Radakovich, Highsmith, are in place. But this rebuild is going to take time, and it's not going to be perfect. We're going to have adversity like we are right now, and it's going to be rocky along the way. But I think ultimately we're going to be all right. So if Don Chaney is not healthy this season and he has to sit out the rest of the year, hey, better for that kid, recover. But if he can play this year, awesome, because we need him desperately. We need that depth at running back. I mean, for Chaney, Parrish, Knighton, and Citizen to all get hurt, I mean, that's just, you can't blame that on anything. That's just bad luck. That's just really bad luck. It happens. Les, brother, give me a score. Man, I feel like every time I give a score prediction, we lose. So I'm not going to give a score prediction. How about that? Let's see what happens. Gaddis run a tight end screen in the spring game. I haven't seen that since. Yeah, I mean, they run little gimmicky stuff in the spring game. That doesn't mean they're going to run it. They're going to run it in the season, because other coaches are watching. Let's see. Chaney, my favorite player. Don, do you think we should, or Rob, do you think we should use screens, like halfback screens, wide receiver screens? Sure, if they're blitzing us. I just hope our offense reacts to what the defense is sending. That's it. All right, guys. I think that's it for me. I'm going to go finish my cafecito, but please hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, follow me, go follow Miami Flow. As always, it's all about that you. Go Canes, big one this weekend. Go show up, go support this team, all right? Believe me, nobody wants to win more than they do. Show them that we got their back. Go to the stadium, get loud. They're going to feel it. They're going to feel the energy. I'm out. Take care, guys.